If you've visited a conventional neurologist lately because you're worried about senior moments or a persistent mental fog, you probably received the medical equivalent of a shrug. They might have given you a mini mental state exam, which essentially checks if you know what year it is and can identify a drawing of a watch, and told you that you're fine for your age. This is the wait and see trap, and it's arguably the most dangerous game you can play with your gray matter. In the mainstream model, Brain Health Sarasota is only addressed once you've already crossed the threshold into diagnosable pathology. They wait until your brain is practically on fire before they start looking for a fire extinguisher. By the time you're diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment, MCI, or early-stage Alzheimer's, the structural damage has been accumulating for decades. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait until my engine seizes up before I check the oil. Real Brain Health Sarasota means identifying the biological wildfires, microvascular decay, mitochondrial collapse, and chronic neuroinflammation, while you still have the cognitive currency to spend. The conventional medical system is designed to manage chronic disease, not to foster superphysiologic health. When it comes to neurological health in Sarasota, the standard of care is shockingly passive. If you don't meet the clinical criteria for a disease, you're sent home. This is like a mechanic telling you your brakes are fine because you haven't crashed into a tree yet, even though they're squealing like a banshee every time you slow down. Brain fog, word-finding difficulty, and memory inconsistency aren't normal aging. They are red flags. They are the smoke billowing from under the hood. If you are experiencing these, your brain is signaling that it can no longer keep up with the metabolic demands you're placing on it. The truth is, your brain is the most metabolically expensive organ you own. It's only 2% of your body weight, but consumes 20% of your total energy. When that energy production falters, or the supply lines, blood vessels break down, the first thing to go isn't your ability to breathe, it's your high-level executive function. You start losing the sharpness that makes you you. That is exactly why Brain Health Sarasota Care has to start years before a chart ever says abnormal. Why doesn't your neurologist test your microvascular integrity or your mitochondrial efficiency? Because there isn't a high-priced patented drug that fixes them. Mainstream medicine is obsessed with the symptom, but remains blind to the environmental and biological drivers of cognitive decline in Sarasota. At ARTC, we look at the brain through a systemic lens. Genuine Brain Health Sarasota Care starts by testing the things everyone else ignores. Your brain doesn't live in a vacuum. It lives in a soup of hormones, inflammatory cytokines, and glucose. One of the most critical yet ignored factors is insulin resistance. Many researchers now refer to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes. And this isn't just a clever nickname. It's a physiological reality. When your brain cells become insulin resistant, they can no longer effectively take up glucose for fuel. Essentially, your neurons are starving in a land of plenty. This metabolic failure leads directly to the accumulation of amyloid plaques and tau tangles, the trash that mainstream medicine tries to clean up while ignoring the fact that the garbage disposal is broken. Your brain is fed by a massive, intricate web of tiny capillaries. This is your microcirculation. These vessels are so small that red blood cells literally have to squeeze through them in single file to deliver oxygen and nutrients. As we age, and especially if we live the standard American lifestyle of fake food and sedentary habits, these tiny pipes begin to rust and collapse. This is known as cerebral small vessel disease. When these capillaries fail, entire sections of your brain become chronically oxygen deprived. This isn't a sudden stroke. It's a slow-motion suffocation of your neurons. Research published on cerebral small vessel disease and cognitive impairment confirms that microvascular damage is often the primary driver of cognitive impairment, even in cases where Alzheimer's is suspected. If you want to maintain brain health Sarasota, you have to prioritize the plumbing. At ARTC, we use a specialized microvascular health assessment to see exactly what's happening at the capillary level. If you don't measure it, you're just guessing. If microvascular health is the plumbing, mitochondria are the power plants. Your neurons are packed with these tiny organelles because thinking requires an immense amount of ATP, cellular energy. When your mitochondria fail due to toxin exposure, nutrient deficiencies, or simple neglect, your neurons lose their battery life. They become vulnerable to oxidative stress, which triggers a cascade of neuroinflammation. This is where things get ugly. In your brain, there are immune cells called microglia. Their job is to clean up debris and fight off invaders. But when they are chronically activated by systemic inflammation or mitochondrial debris, they turn into biological arsonists. They start attacking healthy neurons. This chronic microglial firestorm is a hallmark of every major neurodegenerative disease. Furthermore, your brain is a hormone-dependent organ. Testosterone is highly neuroprotective and helps maintain synaptic plasticity. Estrogen protects against neuroinflammation. Thyroid hormone regulates the metabolic rate of every single brain cell. As these hormones decline, your brain's ability to repair itself vanishes. This is why Real Brain Health Sarasota work integrates hormonal and sexual health into our neurological protocols. You cannot fix a brain that is starving for the chemical signals it needs to survive. We don't do Band-Aid medicine here. Our approach to Brain Health Sarasota is built on the 5 M's framework with a heavy emphasis on the 2 most critical pillars, microvascular and mitochondrial. To truly optimize your brain, we don't just talk about it, we use advanced protocols to force the body into a regenerative state. One of our most powerful tools is EWOT, exercise with oxygen therapy. By breathing high concentrations of oxygen while increasing your heart rate, we create a pressure gradient that drives oxygen deep into those tiny, struggling capillaries. We are literally power washing your microcirculation and waking up dormant neurons. Our protocol also includes targeted peptide therapy, utilizing bioregulators like MOTS-C and SS-31 to boost mitochondrial health, biogenesis, and metabolic flexibility. There are also several brain-specific peptides that can make a big difference, like cerebrolysine, dihexacylanc, and Cmax. Nutritional optimization, a nutritional health optimization plan focused on high-quality fats and antioxidants to extinguish neuroinflammation. The 4Ms protocol. Our proprietary 4Ms framework ensures that every systemic driver, from your gut-brain axis to your muscle mass, is supporting your cognitive function. The irony of brain health is that the people who need help the most are often the ones who have waited too long to seek it. Your brain has been on a maintenance schedule for your entire life. The question is, have you been performing the maintenance, or have you been ignoring the check engine light for the last 20 years? If you're waiting for a magic pill for brain fog or memory loss, you're going to be waiting a long time, and you'll likely be disappointed by the side effects. Regeneration is a process, not an event. We live in a world that is fundamentally toxic to our mitochondria and our microvasculature. From the fake food in the grocery stores to the sedentary nature of modern life, everything is conspiring to dim your cognitive light. Reversing that requires a strategic, evidence-based intervention that addresses the systemic root causes of decline. If you want to keep your edge, if you want to stay sharp for the decades to come, Smart Brain Health Sarasota Care demands more than a wait-and-see approach. You need a roadmap for brain optimization.